Donate blood at Stoughton Health's upcoming blood drive on Friday, June 19th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Located at our Community Health and Wellness Center at the corner of Highway 51 and County Road B. Appointments are recommended. Sign up online at bloodcenter.org.
No, so well, then it's
regulations changed to where as of January 1st, 2027, we cannot file any losses and move on, or what do we do?
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We'll get started. I'll call the order of the Village Board of Oregon for Monday, June 15th, 2026. I would ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Higgins?
Here.
Kirchdorfer?
Here.
Knipfer? Here. Lees?
Here.
Marks?
Here.
Van Kampen?
Here.
And McDaniel is absent this evening.
Thank you. Approval of June 1st, 2026 Village Board meeting minutes if corrections of mistakes, if any. Staff recommendation, motion to approve. Motion by Knipfer and Higgins. Corrections, comments? Hearing none. Motion by Knipfer, second by Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item 4, public appearances, comments, and communications. Items for discussion and or possible action. A, public comment. This part of the agenda allows members of the public to provide information to the village board, including items both on and off the agenda. Under the open meetings law, this agenda item allows the board to receive information and ask questions of a presenter, but facilitate a better understanding of the information. 15 minutes will be provided for this item with a 3-minute maximum per speaker. Otherwise, the agenda will proceed as posted. Anyone here for public comments? Public comments? Hearing none. Moving on. Item 4B, 2025 financial statement audit and year-end 2025 budget amendment. Presentation of financial statements with independent auditor's report for the year ended 2025 by Johnson Black.
That is me. Hi, everyone.
All right, pull your mic close. Yeah.
There we go. There, it seems to be. On?
Yep.
It's on.
Yeah,
Great.
great.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Bast. I'm an audit partner with Johnson Block & Company. We work with the village annually, performing the annual financial statement audit. So in your packet, you should have a few items from us. Their report, the audit report is in draft form, but we are essentially ready to issue. We always bring it to the board in draft form and present the audit results, and then work with management to issue the final shortly thereafter. So in your packet, you'll have a copy of the full audit report. It's a good 90-some pages. I'll save you, and we won't page through that tonight. Our annual communication packet. And then what I'll essentially focus on tonight is the summary report, so the document with the blue border around it.
Okay.
And I won't necessarily page through all of this either, but certainly if there's specific questions you have on anything, feel free to stop me, and I can answer what I can. But so financial statement overview. If you open up to the first page after the cover page, you've got the 2025 audit overview, content of the audit report. This essentially breaks down the content of the large audit report itself, going through the table of contents. You have your several, well, first you have your independent auditor's report. That is essentially our work product as auditors. We are issuing an opinion on the village's financial statements. So we intend to issue an unmodified opinion, which means we feel the financial statements are clearly presented and presented in accordance with the required and applicable accounting standards. So a clean financial statement opinion. Then you have a few sets of financial statements, government-wide financial statements. Those are more of a consolidated look at the village's funds. All of the governmental funds, all of the utilities or the 2 utility funds are consolidated into those full accrual financial statements. Then you have fund financial statements, which present each of the village's various funds as standalone self-balancing funds. Your main operating fund being the general fund, other larger funds, capital projects, street improvements, debt service. Those are some of the larger funds. Then you also have separate financial statements for the water and sewer utilities. After that is probably the longest and largest portion of the report, which is the notes to the financial statements. That provides additional narrative about the village's accounting standards, most of which are, or almost all of which are right in line with governmental entities, municipalities that follow governmental accounting standards. And then different footnote disclosures that help support the financial statements, provide a little additional details and information that coincide and reconcile with the financial statements. After the footnotes, you have the required supplementary information and supplementary information. That includes budget to actual comparison schedules, required schedules for participation in the Wisconsin retirement system and other OPEB schedules, other post-employment benefit schedules, and then also required supplementary information includes all of the village's additional non-major funds, so all of the smaller funds that the village maintains. So if you go to page 3, this is page 2, that one. In addition to performing the annual audit, we also assist the village in compiling and filing a few annual regulatory reports, one being the Department of Revenue Financial Report Form C, that's due annually to the Department of Revenue, and also the Water Utility Public Service Commission Report, which is due in May as well. Also on this page, I'll note our required audit communications to the village board. That's the additional packet that's issued along with the audit report. There's nothing really specific in there that's out of the ordinary. We've got our standard communications. Most of that is standard language. Almost all of our clients see the same language in there. There's nothing specific of relevance in terms of something that I would need to explain. So unless there's any questions on those communications, they're very standard for our clients. And then at the bottom of this page, I kind of note some key financial indicators. I won't list through them right now because I'll touch on them as I go through the summary on the following pages. So going to page 3, this is a look again at the village's general fund, the main operating fund for the village. This is a condensed version of the balance sheet. So the balances of the balance sheet as of the end of the year, 12/31, assets made up of cash, taxes receivable, other assets, liabilities and deferred inflows, primarily accounts payable, and deferred inflows is made up of the tax roll levied at the end of 2025, levied for 26 operations. Then what's left over, assets minus liabilities minus your deferred inflows, is fund balance. That's always what we look at in terms of the health of a general fund. What does fund balance look like at the end of the year? In the village's case, you've got fund balance that is broken down into 4 different categories. You have non-spendable, committed, assigned, and unassigned. Non-spendable funds can include things like inventory, prepaid expenses. If there's any advances between funds, those are considered non-spendable portions of fund balance. The largest portion of fund balance for the general fund being unassigned, which is essentially what's left over after you have your non-spendable, committed, or assigned fund balance pointed out. And under the village's fund balance policy, unassigned fund balance at the end of the year is 30% of your operating budget. So part of what the financial results in the audit include is the application of the fund balance policy to transfer any excess of general fund balance in excess of that 30% to other funds. In this instance, it was all transferred to your equipment replacement fund. So that was, I believe, rounded. It was $700,000 that was in excess of that fund balance policy that was able to be transferred to the equipment replacement fund, which I believe is part of the budget amendment that is part of this agenda item. So that ending fund balance is after that transfer. At the bottom of this page, again, a condensed version of the general fund budget to actual comparison. So had planned for a budget decrease of $732,000. After that year-end transfer, had an increase in fund balance of $144,000. And details on the budget to actual information there is also found in the required supplementary section of the audit report. And on the next page, this is a breakdown of those fund balance categories I mentioned. So a non-spendable being primarily prepaid expenses is what makes up the majority of that balance. Small amount of assigned fund balances, and then the largest portion, what's left over, unassigned. Going on to the next page, excuse the blank pages, I keep those in there for printed version, but not necessary in the PDF. Page 5 is a look at all of the village's other governmental funds. So you've got various special revenue funds, capital projects funds, your debt service fund, and then a small permanent fund. Just a comparison of the fund balance at the end of 2025 compared to 2024. Which most, other than your capital projects funds can vary by year to year depending on borrowing or larger capital spending. Pages 6 and 7 are some information about the annual tax levy. Property taxes levied, a look back or a trend of the last 5 years of property taxes levied, both the village levy as well as the TIF districts. Any of the TIF districts that have positive increment shows the amount of the TIF increment each of those last 5 years. Page 7 is again just a visual for information purposes, a look at the 2025 levy to be collected for the 2026 budget. This is the tax levy as a whole, so it includes not only the village's portion of the levy, but the portion of the tax levy that is collected for the local school district, the county, or technical colleges. And then the portion broken down between the village's operations and then the TIF districts as well. On to page 8. Here we have a schedule of the outstanding debt, general obligation debt of the village. So under state statutes, the village can borrow up to 5% of the equalized value of the village. So outstanding debt as of the end of 2025 was that $42.88 million. Your allowable ceiling to borrow was the almost 106.5 million. So you're using, you have just under 60% of your debt capacity available. I do note there that part of this schedule excludes any revenue bonds or revenue debt. Those are issued and backed by utility user fees. So those would not be counted against the general obligation debt ceiling. The next 2 pages here is a look at the village's water and sewer utilities. Sorry, this print is somewhat small, but taking a look, kind of a 5-year trend of the water and sewer operating revenues. The water utility reported an operating income in 2025 of $33,000. New rates were implemented recently, and then also a simplified rate increase, so that helped kind of move things from operating losses and showing more of an operating income. Same in the sewer utility. Previous years had had operating losses. In 2025, it reported an operating income. Under that section, you've got utility cash flow. It's another look at the financial results of the utilities, both looking at operating income or loss, but then also cash flow in the utilities. So cash flow from operations, cash flow from capital related activities, or cash flow from investing activities. The water utility had a net increase in cash flow of $666,000. The sewer utility had a net increase in cash flow of $69,526. And then at the bottom of this page here, we just kind of take a look at, it's kind of one of the benchmarks or ratios that maybe the Public Service Commission or rating agencies look at, but what is your, kind of the liquidity of your cash in the utilities compared to your operating expenses. So healthy amount of cash reserves in those utilities in relation to operating expenses. On page 10, this is really derived from the same financial information as page 9, the water and sewer utility operating income or loss, just in a bar graph view. And the next 4 pages are a look back at the general fund, looking at the general fund expenditures, giving you the 5-year trend of the general fund expenditures by the different expenditure functions. General government, public safety, public works. You have health and human services, culture, recreation and education, conservation and development. And then also, we also include your debt service, excluding the TIF district debt. So your general levy debt is also included on this schedule. Like most larger villages, public safety, public works tend to drive the larger expenditure categories. The next page, again, same information, just a pie chart view, a breakdown of the 2025 and comparing 2024 general fund expenditures, again, by those different functional categories. And page 13 and 14 gives you the same charts and graphs, but for your general fund revenues. So the largest revenue source being the village's tax levy, followed by intergovernmental revenues. Then you have license and permits, public charges for services, and other miscellaneous revenue. Total revenue being, for 2025, being that $8.77 million. And again, page 14, just to look at that, the pie chart for the different revenue sources for the village's general fund. Lots of information thrown at you very quickly, I know. So certainly if there's any questions, or if Martin or Lisa wanted to kind of add anything specific to the year-end results, the audit went smoothly. We come here for a few days of field work. We also collaborate remotely, but otherwise, I mean, the village has got everything in good shape for us, and for a village your size, the financial statements can get complex, and Even though we have year-end adjustments, and they might be larger, it's nothing that ever concerns us. Lisa's got the books in good shape, and there's standard year-end closing adjustments that we help propose each year with all of our clients, so.
Okay. Lisa, anything?
I don't have anything
No?
no.
Trustees? Tim?
I just had a question about Health and Human Services. It's 4% of our expenditures. What's included in that? Do we know? Is that senior center or?
Yeah, that's mainly the senior center.
Okay, thank you.
Rick?
I had more of a historical question, actually. And one of the trends for the debt service started in a year where 2021, and then it dropped. I mean, a lot of the other charts and graphs kind of make sense if you look at the trend analysis. But on page 32, this is in our packet, there was right there. What happened in 2021 to allow us to do that much retirement of debt service? Is that a 5-letter word named COVID?
I believe what probably happened there was it was a refunding, and so you issued debt to pay off older debt, and so there was a spike because you had proceeds that paid down, so it just was a kind of an inflated spike in the expense offset by refinancing.
Okay.
Okay.
Without having my files, I mean, that's what I usually see there when we see a spike in debt service is from refinancing in that year.
Interest rates were lower than
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, let's do item B2, which is resolution number 26-15, amendment number 2 to the 2025 village budget to account for year-end adjustment. Staff recommendation, motion to approve resolution as presented and accept the auditor's report as presented. Motion by Higgins, second by Knipper. Questions, comments? Hearing none. Motion by Higgins, second by Knipper. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you, Tara.
Thanks, Tara.
I just want a moment to thank Lisa and Martin and the rest of the staff. I know it's a tremendous amount of work each year to get this done, and I just wanted to say we appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Item 5 of approval of vouchers in the amount of $549,062.09. Staff recommendation, motion to approve. Kirchdorfer and Higgins. Questions on these items? Tim.
One. On page 158, 13,000 for water main upsizing REI. What was that for?
Yes, I can speak to that one. That is a payment to Glenn Hofer for taking the water main that was installed with the Autumn Ridge Phase 3A project from 8-inch to 12-inch. So typically when we have these private development projects, generally speaking, the development itself can be served with a smaller 8-inch water main. When the village wants a larger main for its own purposes, generally to improve the system for everybody, we pay the difference for between the 8-inch and the 12-inch main, and that's the reimbursement for that difference.
Thank you.
Rick.
Question about page 156, Madison Metro Sewage District. We had a $37,000 payment to Metro. Why do we pay Metro Sewage?
Yep, that's Yahar Winds. So we pay a total of 2 times that number. Typically, we pay it all in one lump sum, but this year we did split it into 2, just so we could collect interest on that $37,000 for 6 months.
And there were a couple other items, both of them related to the art stuff that we're doing for art fair flyers, and then the other one on page 159, engraving. I just wanted to make sure that that comes out of the art fund, even though it's listed there, correct?
If you look at the general ledger account number, if the general ledger account number begins with a 223, that's the public art fund. So then that's how you know that it's coming out of the public art fund.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anybody else? Okay, we have a motion by Knipfer, second by Higgins. All those in favor? Oops, roll call. Go ahead.
Marks,
Yes.
Kirchdorfer,
Yes.
Van Campen,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Knipfer,
Yes.
and Lees.
Yes.
Okay. President Pankratz, if you're ready, we could squeeze you in now. Yes, no, I was going to move you up in the agenda is what I'm suggesting. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Without objection, then we'll move to item 9C. That's a request from the Oregon School District Board of Education, Troy Pankratz, seeking village funding for school district splash pad project.
All right. This here as well. Is this microphone working?
Pull a little closer.
A little
yeah.
closer.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Well, good evening. First of all, thanks for moving me up in the agenda. I didn't expect that, so
Courtesy.
much appreciated. Good evening. My name is Troy Pankratz. I am currently serving as the Oregon School Board President. I've been a longtime resident of the village of Oregon. Moved here first in the year 2000. And got married and raised my family here. So been a proud member of this great community, and want to thank you all for the work that you do. First of all, in leading this great community as a fellow government official. I know just how difficult it is to make some of the decisions that we have to make. So want to start out tonight by so that the topic, as you are aware, is the community splash pad. And I want to start off tonight by recognizing the long-standing partnership that the Oregon School District and the Village of Oregon has had. We've partnered in many different respects over the years, and certainly many different things that are on the table right now for future partnerships. And we just very genuinely appreciate the great work that we've been able to accomplish together. So tonight, as I mentioned, the topic I'd like to address is the Community Splash Pad Project. The proposed location is here on the west side of the community pool in this currently vacant green space. You can see on the kind of the left side of the photo there is the addition to the pool that includes the exterior bathrooms that were constructed a few years ago in anticipation of this future project. Proposed splash pad concept. So this is an image that demonstrates what the future splash pad could look like in that green space. And I'm going to roll through these slides pretty quickly because you have an extensive write-up in your packet. So, community splash pad benefits. I don't need to go through these in detail, but they've been outlined in various village documents, and I think it's well understood that community splash pads do provide an inclusive space for families It allows community cohesion to enrich the lives of residents who may lack access to recreational amenities. One item that's not on here is the benefit that splash pads do bring for communities who are bringing in low-income housing. It does provide a free recreational facility for all of our residents, not just economically disadvantaged, but all of our residents to come together in one place. It allows children who may not have had exposure to a diverse society. It allows that to happen in one spot. So I do want to point out that very important attribute. And as I said, many of these benefits are highlighted in the village's downtown master plan, including greater foot traffic to encourage new businesses and to help our existing businesses grow by generating more traffic. And just generally enhancing public space and encouraging walkability. And I thought it was ironic that you received an email, kind of a resident comment discussing some of these items in your packet this evening. So, Oregon Brooklyn Optimists fundraising. Mr. Tim LeBrun is here with me tonight as an Oregon Brooklyn Optimist member. Just wanted to demonstrate the significant community support that has been shown for this project. So $574,000 has been raised to date through 495 donors. So a significant number of donors, and that has been a 10-year project. So over the past 10 years, we've gotten ourselves up to $574,000. Additionally, the project has applied for a DNR grant and was successful in that. That is a $321,000 DNR grant. There are some strings attached with that DNR grant. We believe we have all of those boxes checked, with the exception of the fact that this grant needs to be utilized within 3 years of when it was received. So we, as you will hear tonight, we do not currently have a path to construction. Just want to touch on the Oregon School District commitment. So we have been serving, the school district has been serving as the fiscal agent for this project. It was born from the Optimists, and we have been serving as the fiscal agent. When this campaign was launched back in 2016, the school board did approve up to $150,000 for a district contribution towards the Optimist Splash Pad project, and that was by including the construction of the public bathrooms and the utility room on the pool site. So that was before my time on the board. I joined in 2018, but that was a board decision. So while the board approved up to $150,000, the district has contributed around $300,000 to the project. So we've essentially doubled our original contribution and that part of that was the construction that exceeded our estimate, and the land, and just facilitating the bidding, the design, and all of the staff time that went with that, facilitating the project, and as well as supporting the grant writing process. So the Optimist funding plus the grant, I've shared that already. That's close to $900,000 that we have in funds. So $1.2 million has been secured. We have spent to date about $629,000, so that includes the construction of the restrooms and the purchase of some of the equipment. So what's remaining is we have a construction bid of $783,000. Add those two numbers together, we have a total project cost of about $1.4 million, and that leaves us with a funding gap of $217,000 today. we do not currently have a path to closing that gap. Additionally, as part of that approval back in 2016, the Oregon School District has committed to operating the splash pad. So we anticipate our annual operating costs are $11,000 per year. This does exclude water, and I'll tell you why I'm excluding water in a moment. But it does include electricity, the chemicals necessary for the splash pad, water, and then staffing. We anticipate staffing the splash pad with existing staff from our pool facility. There is annual maintenance. The lines would need to be drained, and ongoing maintenance that will routine maintenance that will occur, and then also liability insurance. The district would take on those costs. So the reason that I've excluded the operating costs, or I'm sorry, I've excluded the water from the operating costs is we have, in order to try to close this funding gap, we have been exploring an option to change the design from a recirculation design to a flow-through design. And I thought it was interesting. I actually captured the definition of these two types of designs from the Village of Oregon Park and Rec Plan. So in your own plan, you have a very nice write-up of the difference between the types of designs. And essentially, we are currently programmed for a recirculation design, and what that means is that there's a reservoir on site, underground, that contains a significant amount of water that recirculates this water through the system and captures that water. It's a sustainable option. It does require treatment of the water, so some of the operating costs are a little higher. There's more chemical costs, but it is over the long term, we believe a better option for the environment and aligns with, I think, what we all believe here in the Village of Oregon, that we should be doing our part to take care of this earth. The downside of the recirculation design is that this facility is more expensive to construct and operate long term. So it does have to meet some state pool codes and requires inspections. It does also require a fence around the facility. So as part of our predicament we find ourselves in not having the funds to complete the project, we have been exploring changing the design to a flow-through design. And in that case, the overall construction cost is reduced, so we don't need to construct that reservoir. However, we would be pumping fresh water through the system, and then that would be deposited to the storm drain system. That type of design would reduce our construction costs, we think, by about $110,000. However, as I mentioned, it would require more significant water into the system, and it's certainly less environmentally friendly. So something we've explored. It's something that I don't know that there's going to be support to move that forward. I think we would much rather, as a community, I would like to think we would like to pay a little bit more in the front end to come up with a sustainable project. And so this summarizes what I just spoke to. Rebidding the project, we think we could reduce some construction costs by around $110,000. However, those operating costs climb close to $20,000 a year, and that would result in close to $400,000 in increased operating costs over the next 20 years. And I will mention these are rough estimates on the costs. We're doing the best we can to take a shot at estimating these costs. Certainly many different factors, how frequently the system is turned on, what the use is, what the hours are, and things like that. But just giving you an understanding of the scale of those two options. I I won't go into this. I think this was outlined in your packet already, just the mention of a splash pad within your park and rec plan already, which really takes me to the close today. So I am here tonight to, looking for some support from the village, looking for a partner in this project. I know you all have considered it several times in the past and have not, I don't believe there has been an official resolution from the board other than the one in 2022 where you, the board had mentioned considering supporting the project. So with that, I would, I guess, open it up for questions first off. If there's anything that I shared tonight that inspired questions, I'll try to do my best to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Trustees? Anyone?
I guess it sounds like we have multiple options that you're suggesting tonight. There's a possible capital contribution that would be more sustainable and to help with the funding to meet your more sustainable solution versus a more expensive, less costly to construct, but more expensive to operation asking for funding support in relationship to that. Is that the two options that we're faced with here?
You know, we're looking for support. You know, this project has been on the books, as I said, for 10 years, and we are, by my calculations, we are at 85% completion of having this funding secured. We're on the 15-yard line, and we just need to get this ball across the finish line. And we don't currently have the finances to do it within the community. So we're looking for a partner. You know, options for support. Number one would be a commitment for supplying the water to the facility. Knowing that you all own and operate a municipal water system, we think that's a reasonable ask for a project that would serve the community, the wider community. If that's not palatable or feasible, a contribution to the capital costs of construction would be very, very welcome.
I'd actually like to ask a question of the folks up here, Martin and Larry. My understanding is we don't really own a water system. There's a public utility. I don't believe we have the authority to give water away. Is that correct? Am I correct in that understanding?
That's correct, yeah. We have to charge water.
Yeah. Okay.
And I recognize that requirement. I also recognize that other communities in the state have found a way to supply water to splash pads.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm struggling with the ask a little bit, right? So got it with the water, and then so is the total bill the 200,000 you guys are looking for there, or is there a maintenance tail on that? So, and if I missed it, I'm sorry. I went through. I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the maintenance, as I've stated, this school district has committed to the maintenance, the operating costs. The water, I think, is really in question because we don't have the money to construct the recirculation design. So in order to get us across the finish line, reducing the construction costs, you know, needs to be an option to see this project to completion. And if that were the case, then those water costs increase. So, you know, I'm sorry that I don't have a solid ask for you this evening, but we're really at a critical point where we need some partner. We need some additional support to see this through. And and maybe intentionally want to keep that open because I understand what it's like to sit in your seats and have requests come in that are not in the budget. I very much understand your position. I also understand that this is an incredible opportunity to see this project come to fruition for the village and for our residents. If we are not able to finish out this project, I don't know that you will ever have another opportunity that's 85% there to construct this. If we lose the grant, if we can't utilize the donations, those donations would need to be refunded back to the donors, and so I think that's the reality that we face tonight. So if we can't find a way to make it happen, I'm not sure what the future would look like to build a project like this in the village.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I fully answered your question. You're struggling with the ask.
No, it's okay. You answered it. I'm just trying to figure out what we need to do, what we can do, right? And so I'm sure there's other questions up here as well, but that was great. So thank you.
I would just offer that I don't think this is something the village should be supporting. I think we had a referendum a year ago where the community overwhelmingly told us no to more taxes. And any of the possible solutions here wind up on the village residents' tax bill in a way that I think they've told us they don't want. And at that time, we were asking for police officers and library staff and things, and this is a recreational component. I understand from the comment that somebody sent to the public comments that we should have more recreation available, and that would be great, but developing that is going to cost money. The presentation and the public comments was really underestimating the cost of adding a Parks and Rec department or even a Parks and Rec staffer to the village. And then this is, an additional expense. I feel like the voters have told us not to do stuff like this, that we should only be spending money on needs, not wants. And I would classify this as a want. That's just my opinion.
And yeah, Mr. Higgins, that's good information for us to have as we're operating as the fiscal agents for this project. If there is not community support for it, then then I don't think it's going to happen. So,
Okay. Rick.
You mentioned the grant. Could you tell me what the deadline is on that, or?
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's a great question. I believe that was 2024, in the fall of 2024, when we received that grant. And so we would have 3 years, and I will not be able to speak to the specifics on what that truly means. Is it fully constructed? Is the just groundbreaking have had to happen? I would have to look into that, but I believe that's roughly in the 2027 timeline when that grant would expire. And as we are here in June of 2026, if we were to even if we were to proceed quickly, I don't know that this construction would be completed in this season. It would likely extend into 2027. So, again, I think we're really at a critical point to determine whether or not this can proceed or not.
I guess I would echo Trustee Higgins' remarks in that as a village grows, our need for additional staff and fair employee compensation and updating the maintenance of the village's own facilities must take priority over other requests, both internal and external. I don't see how I could support any funding. Comments? Okay. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Let me get Okay, back to regular agenda, item 6A, consent agenda, staff recommendation, motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented, 6A through G. Higgins and Knipfer. Questions on any of these items? Tim?
Just a couple of comments. Chief, take care of yourself. Use your vacation time, please.
Thank you.
And as to the resolution number 2616, I always brag on how clean our water is. Apparently, our sewer system is pretty awesome as well, so love the job those folks are doing.
Okay. Anybody else? No, we have a motion by Higgins, second by Knipper. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item 7, reports of committees, items for discussion and no possible action. A, Sustainability Committee, authorization to participate in the 2026 Focus on Energy, Practical Energy Management Program, committee and staff recommendation, motion to approve as presented. Higgins, and I think Knipper I saw again. It was, I think, memos, I imagine Lynn normally would speak to this. Anybody want to add anything? Or? Oh, from Mark Miller in the packet, yeah, so. Questions on this item? Hearing none, we have motion by Higgins, second by Knipper. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item 7B, Planning Commission Resolution Number 26-17, approving an extraterritorial certified survey map for property located at 930 Hillcrest Lane in the town of Oregon. Commission and staff recommendation. Motion to approve. Kirchhofer and Lees. Questions on this item? So maybe some of you new people not familiar with this. So Elise, I'm sure would be happy to explain.
Say that one more time.
Any questions?
No.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough. Motion by Kirchhofer, second by Lees. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, unfinished business, items for discussion and or possible action. A, change order number 1 with Portzen Construction for Oregon Senior Center project, including geotechnical over excavation and backfill work and award decking material change credit, increase the contract amount by $127,215.89. Staff recommendation, motion to approve. Higgins and Kirchhofer. Are you, is that why you're here, Jeff? Oh, and there's Jeff. I need to pay better attention what's actually going on here. Okay, well, maybe you want to tell us a little bit about this, Jeff.
If there's questions, I'll take questions,
Great,
but
okay.
at first, can I just tell you a few things?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Because this is our first change order and we're just getting going on the project. So the way that it's going to work, because there's going to be multiple change orders throughout the course of the project. What happens is the contractor gives us these change order requests. Sometimes it's from unseen conditions, sometimes it's things that we're asking for options, maybe things that we decide to change along the way. There's some coordination going on with the plans right now, so the next change order you'll see will be some costs with some construction bulletins because the architect and engineers have updated the drawings and there's cost to that. So as these things come through, I'm going through them first, getting them to where I understand it. I'm going through them with Tricia and with Martin, and then at some point we're going to bring them to the board and say, hey, we think we've got all this figured out. Phil would eventually sign the actual change order, but I'm going to sign off on each of these individual CORs or change order requests from the contractor. So, but we're going to kind of bundle them up maybe once a month, and then I'll come and we can talk about whatever those items might be. In this instance, there isn't a lot of options. There's work that we had to do for this undercutting of foundations, and we're continuing to do that as we kind of go around, and right now we're probably, I don't know, maybe 75% complete with foundations, but this change order represents maybe a third of that kind of undercutting cost that we've got going on. So we'll have more of that as we go along.
Can
Tom?
You explain undercutting of a foundation.
Yes.
It sounds like a bad thing.
Yes, and, you know, I'm just trying to talk a little bit about the general process, but what the bulk of the changes are for this, and we knew about this as we went to bid. We had CGC, who's our soils engineer, do some additional boring more specifically once we knew where the foundations were. We added some money to our construction contingency, which is part of the overall development budget that you guys approved. I think that contingency is starting out at $750,000, and we're gonna document as we use that as we go along with these change orders. But CGC, that soils engineer that did the borings, they kind of warned us before we went to construction, hey, we're worried about the bearing capacity of some of the soil. And it depends on where that footing lands. You know, there's, most of them are 4 foot below grade. There's some other deeper ones in certain areas. And so what's happening is CGC now is coming out and they're actually looking at the condition. So we're excavating to that elevation. We want to pour concrete. They test that soil and they say, no, we kind of thought this was bad in this area. We need you to undercut further and bring that back up with some stones. So maybe we have to excavate down an extra 1 or 2 feet to get to some better material. And then instead of filling that up with concrete, which is more expensive, we would fill that area back up with stone. They'd compact that, and then we pour the footings at the original elevation that they were planned. So if you imagine the geometry of the foundation, kind of the footprint of where all those footings are, the way that the contractor bid it is that concrete would be able to sit on the soil when we got down to those elevations. If we have to go below that and fill it back up, then that's a village cost. And instead of trying to get a contractor to bid some sort of contingency or have them assure us that they have that taken care of, which they'd have to have a very large dollar amount to cover that risk, what we do is we knowingly want to pay for it as it's discovered and defined by the soils engineer. So the soils engineer determines the quantity. We have a unit price set with the contractor. And so then it's just a matter of math and geometry that's supervised by the engineer that works for us. And then, you know, we have to pay those costs as they come in. Does that help with what we're doing?
Yes, thank you.
And the good news is that we've been into some water too as we've been doing this. And in theory, it takes them more time because they've got to go further and fill it back up and do all this compaction. But Portzen so far has not charged us for any dewatering as they've been excavating into the water. And they haven't charged us, they haven't asked for any schedule extension. So, and I think that they're going to be that way all the way throughout this undercutting.
Okay. Tim, and then Rick.
Yeah, so, you know, we're spending some of the $750,000 contingency. How confident are you that $750,000 contingency is adequate for the whole project? Are you
I'm fairly confident. So, you know, just the way construction projects work is the things that are unknown are usually underground, which is exactly what we have now. We don't know until we get there and test it. Once we get above grade, that's all that work's already been bid. We know what it is. And there's some things that we can't change that come up, but hopefully we've got those covered. And then when it gets to be things that are optional, you know, we can make a decision and say, hey, unfortunately, we spent all our money on undercutting. We don't have enough money to upgrade something that, you know, somebody thought was a good idea throughout the course of the project. So we may have to have some discussions to make sure we stay within that contingency.
Good, thank you.
Trustee Marks.
Mine was basically the same question. I was just going to ask a different way. Is there other decision points in our underground that we're sort of open to the risk of additional costs that you're aware of like this, or is this really the big one?
This is the big one. Just, you know, the soil conditions that are on that site, considering where it is and being downtown, you know, you run into things underground that shouldn't be there, but are. But once we get through this, and again, after the next change order, maybe the one after that, you know, in 2 or 3 months, we'll completely be done with this unknown, and then we'll just be talking about things that are a little bit more decision-based. And an example on this change order is something that we're looking for
which is if we can find smart ways to make decisions about the materials we're using, and we can save money, we're gonna do that. So in this instance, we changed from a laminated construction for the exposed wood ceiling to actually solid wood. There was a texture, we took the texture away, so it's gonna be clear individual wood versus this more expensive laminated system, and it saves money, and the architect actually prefers now what we're gonna do. So we're gonna try to make decisions like that to help offset and add some money back to the contingency.
Anybody else? Okay, we have a motion by Higgins, second by Kirchhofer. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion
Thanks, Jeff.
carries. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, let's see. 8B, agreement with the City of Fitchburg and Capital Area Regional Planning Commission for intergovernmental agreement assistance services related to the future land development and public service provision near the Fitchburg, Oregon municipal boundary for a total project cost not to exceed $25,000. The village share is $12,500. Staff recommendation, motion to approve. Higgins, Knipfer. Questions on this item? Hearing none. Motion by Higgins, second by Knipfer. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, item C, resolution number 26-18, adopting the 2026-2028 Village Board Strategic Plan. Staff recommendation, motion to approve. Higgins and Marks. Questions, comments? Hearing none. Motion by Higgins, second by Marks. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. 8D, right-of-way easement agreement with the People in Methodist United Church for acquisition of a permanent limited easement at 103 North Alpine Parkway for right-of-way, sidewalk, storm sewer, utility, and related public improvement purposes as part of the Alpine Parkway County Trunk Highway CC intersection reconstruction project, and authorization of payment of $26,600 and recording of related documents. Staff recommendation and motion to approve. Knipfer and Kirchhofer. Questions on this item? Hearing none. Motion by Knipfer, second by Kirchhofer. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item 9, new business. Item for discussion and possible action. Request from Police Department to purchase replacement drone and related accessories in the amount not to exceed $31,000. Staff recommendation, motion to approve. Knipfer and Lees. Questions, comments on this item? Do you have anything to add to the memos?
I don't. I thought Martin's
Yeah.
memo and my memo gave quite a bit of detail.
Okay, questions? Tom?
Just it seems like there's a substantial increase from the prior drone version that we had. And it sounds like because of the, and I don't have it right now, but there's an additional approval authority or organization overseeing this, or what jumped the price so much?
What jumped the price so much is the FAA has prohibited the use of any drone that's not made in the U.S. Starting January 1st next year. So what's happening is already we're finding agencies are quickly jumping to a U.S. made. Number one, they're more expensive to begin with, but two, now the demand going up. We want to get ahead of it as much as possible before 2027. We've even been told it's like a 36-week wait to get one, and then they'll only hold a quote for us for 30 days. So that's how much we're looking at this driving up pretty quickly.
Other questions? Okay, we have a motion by Knipper, second by Lees. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item 9B, authorizing excuse me, maybe you take over, Don, would you?
6B. Authorize 6,000 in contributions to the Latino Academy of Workforce Development for the entry-level driver training and Class A CDL licensing for affected public works employees in 2026. Higgins and then Knipfer. Is there discussion? Questions? Seeing no.
I'd just say that seems like a really cool program. I'm glad we're working with them.
Agreed.
Any additional comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Going to 9C. And these are all handled as single.
Yeah, these are new business.
Okay. Proposal for Public Works Ordinance Review Services with Town and Country Engineering Incorporated in the amount of not to exceed $7,800. Higgins, Knipfer. Questions? Seeing no questions, all those in favor, say, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Nine D, proposal for Village Hall HVAC building automation and control system upgrade, including upstairs air handling unit and variable air volume controls from J.M. Brennan Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $72,888. Have a motion? Lees? Yep. Is there a second? Marks?
Who's the second?
Marks. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Tim?
Yes, it seemed like from the memo that a lot of our problem is a contractor problem when it was initially installed. Is that a fair reading of the documents?
I think that's a fair reading.
And is there any accountability we can put back on that contractor? Are they still around? Are they still somebody we work with?
We're having some of those internal discussions now, with specific to this unit, meaning upstairs, because the upstairs is on its own unit, right? We are still in discussions with J.M. Brennan. J.M. Brennan has been in discussions with the original mechanical engineer and trying to get a hold of the installer. We're still walking down those avenues, right? And my initial reaction is we're still going to put the compressor in for warranty in all of those items. And I have spoke a little bit with our legal counsel, and I have also reached out to our insurance company. I haven't spoke with our insurance company as of yet. It's kind of a time, there's a lot of moving parts to this, and ultimately it needs to be operational, so.
So what I think I'm hearing is we're going to get it fixed so that we're not sweltering up here, and we're going to spend some money to do that, but there may be an opportunity to recoup some of that on the back end if we're successful with some of these other things, but you're not making that promise.
I'm not making a promise.
Fair enough. Okay. All I would ask for is an honest effort, so.
Yep, and that's, yes. And I can continue to update you too.
Further clarification is that basically us approving this money tonight does not preclude us from any opportunity that we may seize to try to recover funds from the original installation.
Yeah, and let me clear this a little bit. The part that you're talking about with the installation from when we remodeled the building, that's being covered under maintenance, the maintenance and operating budget. This automation system was put in the capital improvement plan and planned as an improvement for the overall building. So you're approving tonight, you're approving what was in the CIP for $70,000 for the upgrade to the controls in the building. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Yep.
Are there additional questions? Hearing no questions, we have a motion from Lees and seconded by Marks All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. And we've already covered E, so we would be going to 10A.
Thank you, Tom. Item 10, reports of village officers, department heads, and consultants. This is for information only. In your packet, the village administrator report. Police chief report, May release from May 28th, 2026 regarding Oregon Police Department closing facility student investigations and calls for stronger district reporting or meter releases from June 1st, 2026 regarding multiple operating while intoxicated arrests during the weekend as well as recklessly and train safety arrest. Anything to add? Oh, well, I guess not. The chief has remained mute.
She's taken some of her vacation.
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, 10C, Finance Director Report, Building Permits, Impact Fees, and Utility Connection Fees collected for the month ending May of 2026, and Lisa's here if there's questions. Hearing none. Item 11, Announcements and Miscellaneous Business. Announcements, comments, communications, upcoming meetings and events, and miscellaneous business. I would just like to acknowledge the presence of our new Senior Sergeant Directors, Tricia Nicole. So wherever we have a new face here, I thought it'd be a good idea to just welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see. There are announcements from staff or department heads. Okay, and we'll move on to recent village staffing actions. Hiring of Isaac Lund to fill Park Crew Person 2 position. Promotion of Nick Arsenal to Public Works Lead Crew Person. Nick's parents worked for me for many years. They're great people. Hiring of Jennifer Dreesen to Senior Center Case Manager and assignment of Police Officer Landon Thies to Detective. New Senior Center name logo vote. Deadline to report is noon on June 24th. Link to vote is on the village website or paper ballots available at the Senior Center, Village Hall, and Library. 3, State Building Commission approval of a $200,000 non-state grant program award for the Oregon Area Senior Center and Community Gymnasium Project. And 4, proclamation recognizing Bausch for 14 years of dedicated service to the Village of Oregon and the Oregon Senior Center. Village Board announcements. Tim.
Yeah, for the public, you may or may not have noticed, but the major construction project has started right outside our doors here at Alpine and Jefferson. We are posting today information on that as well as detours for ways to get around there. I would note that it's going to be particularly challenging for folks who come to the post office. If you use the drive-through mailbox at the post office, you're going to have to kind of make a 3-point turn and come back out the southernmost entrance there. And I think that's going to be an area that we're going to have to keep an eye on and see if maybe there's some support that people are going to need to be able to get through there on busy days when the parking lot is full. But other than that, we've got a couple of alternate routes that we're posting on the website. I'm going to be making some efforts to communicate this throughout the community. I'll be at the Firefly a couple of mornings this week talking to people if they want to hear about it. And obviously, village staff is available to answer questions if the community wants to know more.
Okay.
But it's going to be shut down pretty much for the whole summer, so.
Okay. Candy had something.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, you got the calendar up, Rich? Can you put the calendar up? It's hard to believe, to think about the August election already. But absentee ballots are going out next week for that election, so that partisan primary. So I just want to remind the public that when we do send you that absentee ballot, we encourage you here at the village to get that back as soon as possible, and we can secure it here in our vault. The last election, there was some talk with the Wisconsin Elections Commission, actually sent a survey to clerks on the mail service and delayed mail with all kinds of things happening out of our control. So my recommendation as your municipal clerk is to get that back as soon as you can, so.
Go ahead.
Can I ask a question on that?
Absolutely.
Is there a concern that the post office will not be delivering certain absentee ballots? I mean, I keep reading about the state has to provide a list.
I do not see any concerns, as of right now.
You think you can mail them and they'll get it?
Yes, I've done it for many, many years, and I have faith in our, mail system, so.
Okay. Oh, wow, okay, we'll start with, at the end, Rick.
I was just going to remind everybody that the art fair is this weekend on Saturday, and we'll be there enjoying the beautiful weather. Please join us.
Okay, and Paige.
One more opening for the Cultivating Belonging Committee, just one left. If anyone wants to join, there's an application on the website.
Okay. And Tom.
Just a second on the art fair, I would also note that when you go to see Tim at the Firefly to talk to him about detours, there are T-shirts available for the art fair now on sale there. And they are actually pretty cool this year. I've already bought my extra ones, so there's still a few left.
Okay. All right, thank you. Item 11B, future agenda items. This item gives village board members the opportunity to place a topic on a future agenda. Nothing, okay. Item 12, business. A, discussion and possible action regarding the negotiation of a school resource officer SRO program agreement with the Oregon School District. The village board may convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 sub 1 sub E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. And 19.85 sub 1 sub F, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such programs or investigations. For the purpose of deliberating and developing negotiations strategy for the School Resource Officer Program Agreement with the Oregon School District, and to consider information involving specific persons that may arise in connection with related school district and law enforcement matters. The village board may convene in open session for the purpose of taking action on any matter discussed in closed session as necessary or appropriate. The chair will entertain a motion to move in closed session, Kirchhofer and Hagens. Question, okay, roll call, please.
Van Campen.
Yes.
Knipfer.
Yes.
Lees.
Here.
Higgins.
Yes.
Kirchdorfer.
Yes.
And Marks.
Yes.
We are in closed session. Thank you. Be about 5 minutes. Yeah. No more.
Andrew, no.